Hey, what's up guys? It's Jonathan and let's talk about the V40. But before we do that, let me mention the G7. The G7 was announced earlier this year and if I'm being completely honest, it really didn't impress me. It was a $750 phone that lacked some of the features that its competitors offered, including competitors that are much cheaper, such as the OnePlus 6. And one of those features is 4K 60 frames per second. Now I know there were rumors saying that it was going to get pushed out in a software update, but I never received the updates. And if you go to LG's website and look at the G7 specifications, it says 4K up to 30 frames per second. But if you were one of the ones that did get the update, let me know down below in the comment section, as I would love some clarification on this mystery update. With all that being said, LG has officially announced the V40. And just like last year, I feel like the V series is what the G series should have been. Now, in the past, the V series has always had some standout features to make it a separate lineup, such as advanced video recording capabilities, the quad DAC, a secondary display, maybe a better overall display that is a little bit larger. All of these things add up to a different experience for a different phone. But this year, the G series and V series is more similar than it has ever been. In fact, a lot of other smartphone manufacturers have been doing this, for better or for worse, and I gotta say, I don't really like it. This leads me to the question, is the starting price of $900 for the V40 actually worth it over the $750 G7? Well, let's find out in this video, but first, let's roll the sponsor. This video is brought to you by Colorware. With tons of color combinations for several devices, Colorware makes it easy to customize your tech. Whether you want paint or a wrap, click the link in the description to get started. As a bonus, use code TEAMJJC at checkout to save 10% on your next order. To kick this thing off, let's do a classic Jonathan Casey OT for Tech unboxing of the V40 to find out what comes inside the box. You get a microfiber towel, the V40 itself, which we will come back to, your usual array of paperwork and a SIM ejection tool, a quick charge 3.0 charging brick, a USB-A to USB-C 3.1 cable, and finally a pair of headphones, which to my surprise are not the usual, more premium Bang & Olufsen headphones found in previous generations. On the outside, both of these devices look incredibly similar down to the color. However, if you look a little closer, you can see the V40 is slightly taller than the G7 and also features two front-facing cameras. These two cameras are an 8-megapixel standard f1.9 camera and a 5-megapixel wide-angle f2.2 camera. The G7 features a single 8-megapixel wide-angle f1.9 camera. Flipping the phones over, the differences are even more noticeable, with the V40 now offering a triple camera setup. This setup includes a 12-megapixel standard f1.5 camera, a 16-megapixel wide-angle f1.9, and a 12-megapixel telephoto f2.4. The G7 features a dual camera design, which is a 16-megapixel standard f1.6 camera and a 16-megapixel wide-angle f1.9. The V40 features a new sensor, which is capable of performing better in low light thanks to the increased micron size of 1.4 up from 1.0 found on the G7. You're also going to get better dynamic range, better colors, and overall just a better processed image. Another difference is the autofocusing system. The G7 still uses the laser autofocusing system combined with phase detection, whereas the V40 has dual phase detection autofocus. Now, if you turn on the displays, you're going to notice another big difference between these two phones. The V40 features a 6.4-inch OLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 3120. It also features full vision support, a screen-to-body ratio of 83.51%, and gets anywhere between 500 to 600 nits of brightness. On the G7, we're looking at a 6.1-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1440 by 3120. We have full vision support and a screen-to-body ratio of 82.74%. The V40 has a better overall display with better colors. Of course, you can always tweak the color profiles within the settings on both devices, but in the end, the V40 is just more pleasing to look at, especially when you're looking at the whites. When it comes to off-axis viewing, the V40 again retains a better image with hardly any color shifting. The V40's display is also HDR10 compliant, whereas the G7 is missing this feature. The G7's display is a little bit sharper, and that's thanks to its higher PPI. It's not a drastic difference, and in fact, most people probably won't be able to tell a difference, but if you look really close, you can see it. Strangely, where the G7 can get up to 1000 nits of brightness when it needs to, the V40, when adjusting the brightness to 100%, gets a bit brighter. Both of these devices feel great in the hand, while I have to give the edge to the V40 since it does feature a larger display at hardly any cost in size. In fact, I would go as far as saying that it's the best 6.4-inch design phone that I personally have used to date. One-handed use is exceptionally easy, not saying that it's any harder on the G7, but in general, it's just awesome to be able to handle a device this way with such a large display. Also, the V40 feels incredibly light, so when combined with its compact form factor, you'll hardly notice it in your pocket. On the inside, we have a few more similarities. For starters, both phones are running the Snapdragon 845, both phones feature the same quad DAC, and both phones feature the same boombox speaker design. The differences are the V40 has 6GB of RAM versus the 4GB on the G7. The battery on the V40 is also larger, coming in at 3300 mAh versus the 3000 mAh found on the G7. While the differences here are slight and most people probably won't notice a difference, overall it should give the V40 a bump up in battery life and performance, but I'll have to do some further testing to make sure this is accurate, so make sure you subscribe for my full review. The V40 also has a few differences within its software, specifically the camera app. The V40 is capable of recording 4K up to 60 frames per second and 1080p at up to 240 frames per second. It also has the ability to use all three cameras at the same time and stick the images together in a mini collage, which looks cool until it gets to the telephoto image and completely looks out of whack. The V40 can also do a cine shot, which records a quick video clip, and you choose which parts of the video actually display motion. It's basically the same thing as a cinegram. You also get an Animoji type experience that isn't offered on the G7. The V40 definitely produces better images over the G7 for not only stills, but also in video. The 4K 60 and 1080p at 240 is a night and day improvement over the G7. The portrait mode found on the V40 also seems to be performing better with increased accuracy for edge detection. This goes for the front and rear cameras, which is definitely a plus. One thing I did find interesting is that the G7 uses AI a bit differently, which can be seen when pointing the camera at a subject. You will see various words popping up on the G7 display, which is the AI doing its thing, while the V40 does the same thing, just less intrusive. Low-light images are better on the V40, but I wouldn't call it a huge difference. While the camera is definitely better and the 5-camera setup is amazing, the image processing could definitely use some work on the V40.
So yeah, we're outside now, much better lighting. You can see how well each of these phones is going to do with stabilization. You know, we're walking, colors, DR, sharpness, all that good stuff. Yeah, from the stabilization standpoint, they both look pretty good. Definitely digging the look of the V40 much more than the G7, but yeah, let me know what you guys think.
Overall, it's like I said in the beginning, the V series this year is exactly what the G series should have been, a minor step up. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but for me, I just remember the V10 so much and I loved that phone. It was a tank, had a different design, had advanced features, and overall it was a different experience versus the G series. And I'm hoping they go back to that eventually, because to me, that's what really made the V series stand out. But hey, that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, let me know, what videos do you want to see in terms of comparisons? Because I do plan on putting the V40 through its paces, dropping a full review, and doing several other videos comparing it to other flagships on the market. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Turn on those notifications by clicking that bell icon, and hit me up on social if you have any questions, as I do respond faster over there, or you can just drop them down below in a comment if you feel like doing so. And of course, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.
Toast to the homies that could never see the light, and the haters that forever see my ghost. What a night, ah man. Oh, you wanna know who I am? Oh, you wanna know me? Well, I'm the man.